Hello and welcome to a DFS preview for the 2023 Tournament of Champions. My name is Eric and here at SweetSpotDFS, it's all about trying to hit the optimal lineup every single week. I usually do that by taking a look at the bucket system, which if you're unfamiliar with, I do have a video link in the description below. I'll explain all about it. I'll also be looking at the tournament information, the golfers in the field, as well as the golf course itself. But those are going to be kind of just tiny pieces to this video. I'll do that here in the beginning, and then I'm going to dive right into the bucket system. I do have some channel updates that I think some of you guys are going to be really interested in. I'll keep those to the end of the video, because who likes any type of updates in the beginning of the video? Hey, if you're someone who cares about this channel, you'll wait until the end, you'll listen to it at the end, or you'll skip forward to the end if you're curious. So I'm not going to bore you guys with any of that in the beginning here. It's all about the DFS slate this week. I want to get into all the information that's important that you need to be thinking about, looking into, all here at the beginning. But before I get into any of that, I want to remind you guys of giveaways that I like to do. I have a weekly/monthly giveaway that requires the same effort on your end. You have to be subscribed to the channel and you have to participate on the channel. And really the only way to participate is to comment down below. Now, I've included doing Twitter stuff in the past. Really, I just want more volume to this channel. So the only way to get participation points is to comment down below. And I usually always say, give me your 2 favorite golfers you're going to build your lineups around. You could also just give me your favorite golfer you're going to build your lineups around, or just put anything in the comment section. It's fine. I might disqualify any that's like super negative, but if you have criticisms, go ahead and provide them down below. I'm open to have a discussion on what you believe to be true versus what I believe to be true. Totally okay with that. So again, to participate, you got to comment down below and you have to be subscribed to the channel. So every week I'll give $5 away, and that will be ran here in the preview video. So I didn't have one for last month. There was one tournament in December, or there were 2 tournaments in December, but I really wasn't going to include any of that. I only did one video in December, so that doesn't count. Here moving forward at the end, well, let's talk about the weekly one first. Next Monday, when I do a preview video, I will run the giveaway for the $5 giveaway. Again, for you to have an entry, all you have to do is comment on my videos that I'm posting this week. So you get 1 free entry per video. You can comment on this video as much as you want. You're only getting 1 entry. And again, it's 1 entry per video. So any video, and by the way, I'm going to have a bunch of them this week. Any video that I post this week, if you want a free entry, just comment on each of them. This helps the YouTube algorithm out. It helps me get ahead of other people to get more viewers on this channel. It's all about growing the channel, and it's my way to show my appreciation towards you. So again, $5 weekly giveaway. I do have a goal. You can see that goal all the way over there to the left. 500 subscribers is my goal to get at the end of this month. If we can get 500 subscribers by the end of the month, I'm giving away $50. If we don't hit that goal, that's fine. That's fine. I will instead give away a t-shirt with the logo that you see right here. So this is my sweatshirt. Unfortunately, I just have 1 sweatshirt left and it's a double XL. So if you are a double XL and you want that sweatshirt, it's $40. I'm not doing that in the giveaway. I'm only giving away t-shirts every month. So again, if you're interested in the monthly giveaway, all you gotta do is participate on this channel. If you want those shirts without the monthly giveaway, they're $15. I will include a new graphic. I just haven't been able to get to it. Again, I'll talk about this in the channel update at the end of the video. It'll be easier once I update it to show you what you truly need for the weekly, monthly, all that good stuff. So yes, weekly/monthly giveaway. Gotta be subscribed and you gotta participate on the channel. Those are the only requirements. A second giveaway that I'm doing is a prize picks giveaway. I have a link in the description that'll get you to the sign up page that will already put the SweetSpot promo code in there. So you don't even have to type that out. But if you wanted to, just go to prizepicks.com, go to sign up, put SweetSpot in the promo code, then put $20 in your account, at least 20, and I will give you $20 back. Now, Prize Picks will match your deposit up to $100. So you can put whatever you want in there. I'm still going to give you $20 back regardless, as long as you put at least $20 in. So I'm allowing you to play this for free, essentially. Again, link in the description if you're interested in that. Check it out. I highly encourage you guys to do that. And then lastly, for this video at least, I provide a cheat sheet. That cheat sheet you can find also, well, you can find the link to that cheat sheet in the description below. It'll get you to this dream sheet, as I call it. Has all the information I'll be going over in this video. So if you want to follow along with me as I go through this, highly encourage you to do so. Again, link in the description below. The only thing I ask you to do is go up to the file menu and make a copy. You can barely see it on the screen, but there's a make a copy option up here. Make a copy for yourself, because I have filters on this video or on these the spreadsheet, and if you don't make a copy, you can't utilize those filters. Plus, I do have the bucket system on here as well, so when I go over this and you want to follow along, you can use the same filters that I'm using. Again, file, make a copy. I'll also provide an optimizer, but that won't be until tomorrow's strategy video. All you got to do there, same thing that you do for the weekly and the monthly giveaway, be subscribed to the channel, comment down below, and then you're gonna have to email me at SweetSpotDFS@gmail.com, letting me know that you are interested in the optimizer. But I'll go over that in tomorrow's video as well. So that wraps up all the giveaways. Let's go ahead. Let's get into this preview. We're gonna start with the tournament. I do have the golf course information up, but we're gonna talk about the tournament. It is all your past year's champions of the different tournaments that were going on the PGA Tour event. Does not include the Hero World Challenge. It does not include the QB Shootout. It only includes your main PGA Tour events and then the alternate events like your Corrales Punta Cana, your Puerto Rico Open. Those tournaments are also included into the Tournament of Champions criteria. So we have 39 golfers in the field. We'll go over the strength of field. I do include that in the cheat sheet, by the way, if you were to look at the dream sheet. I'm using the old school method of strength of field, where it takes into account OWGR and FedEx. I figured out what that formula was, so I use that. I like that much better than their new system. I don't quite understand the new system all that well. I don't like that it uses small points. Like, it's really hard to distinguish 10.9 versus like a 12.1. Whereas if this was an 800 strength of field rating versus a 500, you know that the 800 is that much tougher. So anyways, I use the old version, which I say I figured out the calculation. I'm off usually by 7 points, either low or high, but it's within 7 points. And it has been forever. So just keep that in mind. I do include the tournament or the strength of field. As you can see, it's 519, so it's pretty challenging. Whereas like the average is 270 or something around 300 or less. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, this is going to have all your good golfers in on tour, and rightfully so. They're your past champions, so it makes sense. That is your tournament information, basically. 39 golfers in the field. Rory was in, but then withdrew like he did last year, so keep that in mind. He is on the DraftKings slate. You can choose him, just don't do it. And be cognizant of any other withdrawals that happen. Now, as for the golf course, it is a par 73, 7,500 yards, or just actually, it's 7,600 yards. Usually there are 4 tee boxes that the PGA Tour uses on every single tournament at every single golf course. So again, be aware of that. It doesn't really matter all that much. 7,600 yards seems long, but this is played at elevation. The ball flies a little bit further. The fairways are usually firm. They roll out. If you remember DJ, you know, I don't even know how long ago it was now, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. He drove a par 4 around 400 yards. Might have been like 396. Could have just been a little bit over 400. He drove the green, but that's because he had a 100-yard rollout in the fairway. He found a speed slot. Almost got a hole-in-one. If you remember, it just dried up short of the hole. It was tracking right towards the middle of the hole. It'd have been sweet. Easy eagle for DJ. It was like a 2-3 foot putt. But that's what you can get here. The fairways are really wide. Really, these shot shapes that I have in here, like the requirement, is just like they give you an advantage if you have that shot shape. It isn't a requirement. because most of the holes out here wide open, very little trouble. Sometimes I include this because there's a bunker that guards part of the green, so you want to hit around that green to access, you know, more of that hole location, but it doesn't really require you to hit that shot shape, if that makes sense. So this is pretty negligible. You don't really have to talk about, or we don't really talk about shot shape required. Don't really have to talk anything about the golf course. Again, pretty easy. You can see I have a note up here, extremely slopey, but some of the holes are attackable. Again, we talked about DJ being able to drive one of the greens here. You still want to target most of your bombers. Probably don't put all 6 bombers in your lineup, but I wouldn't I don't know. I wouldn't care if you did or if you didn't. I think you can make lineups however you want. There are only 39 golfers, so you're gonna have to be unique some way. But as we talk about on the Fantasy Golf Podcast, me and Josh Bennett, we talk about how hitting the ball further just gives you better scoring opportunities, period. So keep that in mind. All right, so outside of that, we talked about the tournament. We talked about the field, like the strength of field. We didn't really talk about the field. I'll do that with the buckets. And then we talked about the golf course. So here we are. We're going straight into the bucket system. Again, if you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, go ahead, get in that filter, hit the bucket system filter. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to remove last week and recent form. Obviously, there wasn't a tournament last week. I shouldn't even say obviously. If you didn't know, PGA Tour has been on break for about 4 weeks, maybe even 6 if you don't include the Hero World Challenge. It's been on break for about 6 weeks. So we don't have a last week. It's really not even necessary to put recent form in there because the Hero World Challenge only had 17 golfers in it. The QBE shootout was a 2-man thing. We don't include that information in our recent form stats. So we really don't have recent form. So you can go ahead, X that out as well. We're not going to have stats for them anyways. I didn't even include them. So we're really only going to be looking at your last year, your course history, salary, and strokes gained buckets. And again, if you're unfamiliar with the bucket system, there is a link in the description below. So how I usually go throughout these videos is we look at column G and H. We have our minimum projection and our maximum projection. There are rules that come with this, and I'll go over them once we get there. But since this is a limited field event, we really only have 3 buckets to look at in the last year and course history bucket. Because of the ranges that I use, I go by every 20 places. So if there is like 40 or less, we're never going over 40. We'll never get into the last year 3 bucket, the last year 4, or the last year 5. Likewise, we're most likely not going to be talking about course history 3, 4, or 5. Now, if there's a withdraw, I usually include that into this bucket here, the course history 5 bucket. So there is a chance if there is a withdraw that a golfer can find themselves in one of these buckets moving forward. That also could be negligible. Like, we don't really have to talk about that because a withdraw, I don't know how you want to look at it. If a withdraw happens during the tournament, that's kind of unfortunate. But if a withdrawal happens before the beginning of the tournament, most likely you're not going to play that golfer and it's not going to harm you. I want to record it when it harms you, where you're playing a golfer and then they just withdraw, because I think that's valuable information that we should consider. But for the most part, yeah, it's pretty negligible. We don't have to really talk about it. I'm just going to hide some of these columns here. If you're aware of this looking a little bit different, it's because I got a new computer and a new computer and new monitors. The monitors are 4K, so it shows resolution a little bit better. I don't know what it's going to look like when I post this to YouTube, so I'll be interested to see what it looks like. I'm going to hide some of this information that's really not necessary. It's more information for myself to look at. This is not included. This information here is not included in the cheat sheet. I think I'll add it eventually, but for the time being, it's kind of like a trial for me, so I don't have it included. All right. What we can do here is when we look at the last year bucket, what I'm going to do is go bucket by bucket. Last year 1, last year 2, last year 6, course history 1, course history 2, and then course history 6. And we'll go golfer by golfer. You can follow along with me on the cheat sheet. So last year 1, when we look at what we the two columns I talked about, the minimum and maximum projection, we have 2.66, 4.43. I don't like to round because I just want to show you guys what that information looks like. 2.66 we round down. In this minimum projection bucket, we always round down to the whole number. So 2.66 obviously turns into 2.0 basically. You know what's interesting? I have a desk right here. Oh, you can't see it, but it looks like my elbow is up in the air. I'm trying to figure out how to make this look normal. Updates at the end of the video. I'll go over all of them. I have pictures to show you. That's a lot of fun stuff. So if it looks weird, it does look weird on the stream. Okay. Anyways, 2.66. That rounds down to 2. 4.43 rounds up. So that goes to 5. I'm telling you, or at least I'm projecting, somewhere between 2 to 5 golfers from the last year 1 bucket finishing inside the top 10 this year, or at this tournament. So keep that in mind, you know, and do with it as you please. It's up to you guys and what you believe or what you don't. That's a pretty conservative number. Considering there's 11 golfers in that bucket and the strength of field for that bucket's pretty large, I think it's like a no-brainer that 2.2 to 5 golfers are going to finish inside the top 10. I do have like a conservative max projection over here. So this kind of like takes into account my sweet spot score for the golfers in these buckets, as well as the strength of field points that goes towards them and the success rate. Whereas these projections don't include the sweet spot score at all. 4.13 still rounds up to 5. So the max projection is still 5. So I think we're going to see probably around 3 or 4 of these golfers for sure. And that's where you probably want to start building your lineups from. Now we go to the last year 2 bucket and we can see that it's 0 to 1.3. That's 0 to 2. We're looking to 0 to 2 golfers in that bucket. You know what? I'm going to rewind because I want to cut these up into segments. So how about this? Let's start back to last year 1s. For the last year 1 bucket, we want somewhere between 2 to 5 golfers from that bucket. That's what I'm projecting to be inside the top 10. And if we go to the cheat sheet, again, you can follow along with me and put a filter on this. Look only at last year 1s. We have a pretty short list. We have 11 golfers in that bucket, and we want somewhere between 2 to 5 to build our lineups around. Personally, for me, it's easy to kind of start with either Jon Rahm and Patrick Cantlay, or Jon Rahm and Xander, or maybe Patrick Cantlay and Xander. You already have your 2 golfers out of the way. From there, determine what fits in your lineup the best. Salaries are pretty high for this bucket, so even if there are 2, let's say there's 5 golfers that finish inside the top 10 from this bucket, it literally could be the top 5 golfers here. You might at most be able to play 3 of them. So keep that in mind. But if by chance you like Hideki Matsuyama, Sung J M, Sam Burns down here, or any of the 8K and below golfers, you could probably put 4 of these golfers in your lineup. But I think it might be capped at 3. So those are your last year 1 bucket. Last year 1 bucket golfers. Looking at last year 2, you want somewhere between 0 to 2. So again, going into the cheat sheet, we look at our last year 2 golfers. We only have 4. So 0 to 2. This to me helps you out from choosing all 4 of the golfers. You just want 2. And it's more likely you're going to have 1 golfer versus 2 golfers that are going to be in the optimal lineup or in the GPP winning lineup. Entirely up to you. I'm really looking at Jordan Spieth here. But remember, Victor Hovland just won the Hero World Challenge. And I believe he won the Mayakoba. I forget what that one's called. The Worldwide Technology. I forget what it's called. It's such a long title. But the one at Mayakoba. He won that tournament as well. So I'm not going to rule out Victor Hovland at this event either. He's a good 8K golfer. So really, I'm looking at these 2 guys. My buddy Chad from the Fantasy Golf Pod probably going to have a hard-on for Billy Horschel. I'm just going to ignore that one. And KH Lee is kind of interesting. So I don't mind KH Lee. Again, 4 golfers in this bucket. You want 0 to 2. You can either ignore it, pick one, but by most, pick 2. Don't pick 3 or 4. Just pick somewhere between 0 to 2. Moving on to the next one. So the only other bucket to really talk about is our last year's 6 buckets, because again, last year 3, 4, and 5, just not worthy to talk about. And our projection here is 2 to 5, just like the last year 1 bucket. However, my conservative projection for maximum is 4, so keep that in mind. Somewhere between 2 to 5, but really maybe cap it at 4. Looking at the golfers from that bucket, again, follow along with me on the cheat sheet. We have Scottie Scheffler at the top. He is your top price guy, by the way. I don't have an issue starting with Scottie Scheffler. Now, this bucket is a lot larger than the other 2. We have 24 golfers versus 11 in the last year 1 bucket versus 4 in the last year 2 bucket. But remember, we want somewhere between 2 to 5 and really kind of conservatively a max of 4. So depending on how you want to build this lineup, I mean, we got a lot of golfers down here in the 6K range that you could easily fill in your lineup. And when we go over past optimal lineups and past GPP winning lineups, we're probably going to see a bunch of 6K golfers that find their way in those lineups. So we're most likely going to have to select golfers from this range, which kind of helps you out. You might want at least 2 of these guys. And if you do pick 2, remember the projection somewhere between 2 to 5. So maybe we just only select 1 or 2 golfers in this range. And it might actually help us select our golfers a little bit better, or a little easier, I should say, because the last year 1 bucket, you want 2 to 5, and there are only 11 golfers in that bucket. So it might be easier starting there, coming to this one, or if you like Scottie Scheffler or Matt Fitzpatrick or Will Zalatoris, remember Zalatoris is coming back from an injury, so be cautious there. But yeah, if you like any of these guys, maybe that's your one-off. And then you come down here and pick 1 to 2 golfers to fill in your lineup, and then use the other 2 buckets, the other 2 last year buckets, to fill out your lineup. Probably the best way to go about it. So that wraps up your last year buckets. Let's move on to the course history buckets. And again, we're only looking at course history 1, course history 2, and course history 6. So for your course history 1 buckets, I'm projecting somewhere between 4 to 8 golfers finishing inside the top 10 from that bucket. It's a pretty large one. There are 21 golfers in that bucket. So it seems more like a numbers game, you know, volume driven. And more often than not, our best golfers are in this bucket from tournament to tournament. And with this being a limited field event, pretty easy to get in this bucket. My conservative max projection is 6. Again, remember, we're always rounding down in the minimum projection, always rounding up. So with our minimum or our conservative maximum projection, 6, that's a full lineup on DraftKings. So, or on FanDuel even. You can use this for FanDuel as well. So let's take a look at that bucket. Let's go ahead and select everyone for last year, because we're going to get right into the course history. We have Scottie Scheffler and Jon Rahm, 2 of your top 10K golfers. I think they're the only 10K golfers in the field. I think that's true. But either way, you can start here. I really like Jon Rahm this week, but you could also persuade me to use Scottie Scheffler. I don't think there's an issue. Now, if we want 6 golfers from this, and remember the projections are top 10s, you might not be able to roster everyone because of their salary. So keep that in mind. I always forget to mention that, but if, say, your 6 golfers are your top golfers in this bucket, you can only roster at most 3 of them. Maybe 2 to 3, something like that. You'd want to select from here. I really like Cantlay and Xander this week. It's a no-cut event. That's where Xander thrives. I also really like Jon Rahm because he has a really good course history at this event. Finished second here last year. He's also in that last year 1 bucket that I like. So too is Cantlay. So too is Xander. And so too is Justin Thomas. So like you have a really good selection there of golfers to select or to choose. It's hard. It's going to be hard. But I think I like Jon Rahm the best, followed by Cantlay and Xander. Now you want somewhere between what was it, 4 to 6? I think I said 2 earlier, but I should have said 4. Somewhere between 4 to 6 golfers from this range. And again, I got to back up because 4 to 6 is the projection. Again, you might not be able to roster everyone. So I guess keep that in mind. But if we're pretending we can roster at least 4 golfers, I might go like Cantlay, Xander. I really like Jordan. Remember, he's in that last year 2 bucket, so it actually works out for us in selecting him. And I really don't mind anyone Corey Connors and down. I'm probably staying away from Billy Horschel. I don't want to play Billy Horschel. I do like Harmon. I do like Matsuyama. I also really like Sung J M. But again, if we start with the last year bucket, we want one of these guys up here. And if you select 2 of these golfers, you really can't select 2 golfers in the 8K range. So you really have to make a decision of golfers in the 8K range. So up to you. Again, 4 to 6 golfers, really 4 to 7 that I'm projecting inside the top 10 from this bucket. Do with that as you will. I think you could select 4 golfers from this bucket. I think you can actually select 5 and be pretty good. So keep that in mind. Going to the next bucket, course history 2. We're projecting somewhere between 0 to 1. Now remember, I like to include a 2-point gap because it provides the most accuracy. Having a 2-point gap that doesn't like pinpoint down like an easy projection, because if I were to say 0 to 1, you get to make the decision between either obviously 0 or 1 golfers. If I say 0 to 2, you're going to be like, well, there's only 5 golfers in this bucket, so you're letting me select almost from half of them. But what I've learned with the bucket system, you always want a 2-point gap. If the minimum is 0, you still want to add a little bit of a buffer zone for up to 2. So when we go and look at our course history 2s, we've got Victor Hovland and then 7 and 6Ks. I like this primarily because if you like Victor Hovland, you could select 1 more golfer. However, it might not be wise. Like if I'm making 10 lineups, I would say in maybe 2 of them, maybe 3 of them, I will select 2 golfers from here. Outside of that, I'm only selecting 1 golfer. So the remaining 7 or 8 lineups that I'm building, I'm only allowing myself to pick 1 golfer from this bucket. Whether that's Hovland, whether that's Wise, Lee, entirely up to you. Personally, I like Mackenzie Hughes at this event. I really like that 6'9" price tag. It fits well when I'm building lineups because I'm going pretty top heavy. When I first built it out, I started with Rahm, Cantlay, and Xander. So that only leaves you so much salary that you can go from there. Mackenzie Hughes kind of fits that pretty easily. Probably staying away from Ches Reavie. I just don't care to play Ches Reavie. He is one of my lowest ranked golfers in the field. Probably just going to stay away from him. But that wraps up your course history 2 buckets. So the last one to talk about, course history 6. These are golfers that have never played this event, dating all the way back to 2013. So I don't think there's old enough golfers in here who have not played within the last 4 years. I'd say Adam Scott would probably be the oldest golfer in this field. But I believe he's played in this event within the last 4 years. I would guess that to be true. Maybe that's not true. Anyways, you see the minimum is 1 and the max is 2. Remember, there's a 2-point gap we're doing for a buffer. The other rule that goes with this, if this isn't greater than 2, then the minimum automatically becomes 0. I want a 2-point buffer. The reason I don't go up to 3 is because if this bucket was really good and had really good golfers in it, this would already be over 2. But this is more volume driven. There are 13 golfers in this bucket. That is why your minimum's higher, but your max is lower because there's just not a lot of good golfers in this bucket. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at our course history 6s. And again, we want somewhere between 0 to 2. We have Fitzpatrick, Zalatoris, Cam Young. So I say there aren't a lot of good golfers, but really, we have a lot of good up-and-coming golfers. Let's put it that way. We can make an argument for the golfers I'm selecting here from Sepp Straka and down not being the greatest golfers and really just having a good core of 5 golfers here. If we want to go by that minimum and be a little aggressive, you know, I said we want a buffer of 2 points, so that automatically makes it 0 to 2. But really, the true projection is somewhere between 1 to 2 golfers inside the top 10. Maybe you just select one of these golfers here because they are really good golfers. Like Sahith Theegala at $7,300, pretty darn good value. So keep that in mind. If you do want to select 2 golfers, I think you need to select one of these 5 golfers here at the top and then combine them with someone down here. But I would not end your lineups with 2 of these golfers down here. I just don't see the point. There are decent golfers to think about, like Luke List. I don't mind Trey Mullinax. He hits the ball a mile. But I'm really just going to stick somewhere. If I'm selecting 2 golfers, it's someone up here and someone down here. Like someone from this range with someone from this range. And that's me being a little, I guess, narrow-minded, if you want to call it that. You know, being stubborn with it. Because literally 2 golfers from here could be inside the optimal lineup. And also 2 golfers from here could be in the optimal lineup. So it's really up to you. But if you're using my advice, I would say I wouldn't select more than 2 from the selected range that I have right now. I think that's just going to be my rule when I build lineups. Maybe that's how you find the optimal lineup. And I'm just going to screw myself. So up to you guys. But that is the end of the course history buckets. So let's move on to salary buckets. Let me just include everyone again, clear out those filters. Come down to our summary page, or the bucket system. I include salaries because it's a ranking system. DraftKings does a ranking system based off their own algorithm. Their algorithm's pretty close to my scoring system. We do have a little bit of differences in this week's tournament. Just to show you that, I'll go back to the cheat sheet. You can also see this as well. Here are my rankings over on the left side. You can see Colin Morikawa is my 12th ranked golfer in this field. That's kind of because he had an abysmal 2022 season. Started getting better towards the end, but somewhere in the middle just really didn't play that great. So he kind of suffers because of his poor stat performance from last year. I'm not saying he can't be one of the top 6 golfers in this field, but I think I'd be more comfortable putting like a Finau over him. If Zalatoris was healthy, I'd put him over him kind of easily. And then you can make an argument for some of these guys down here. Sungjae, Burns, Hovland, you know, any of those guys with their track records from last year, I think we could put ahead of Morikawa. So that 12 point placement, or that ranking that I have him, I think is pretty fair. I don't know if I could move him inside the top 10. He could be like my 9th ranked golfer, but I like more golfers in this field than him. You know, that are priced below him than I like him. So anyways, DraftKings has their algorithm. It's based off their salary. This is basically their ranking. Who they think is the best golfer in the field, Scotty Scheffler versus Jon Rahm. Now, you can make the argument that Jon Rahm's probably better than Scotty Scheffler, but teach their own. So with that being said, I've been tracking salaries for the last 4 years at this event. Maybe it's even the last 5 years. I can't remember. And I'm showing you what the likelihood of golfers from this range finishing inside the top 10. Now, the funny thing is that 10K range, we only have 2 golfers in it because Rory backed out. And it's kind of interesting because DraftKings, for whatever reason, only has 2 10K golfers, making the pricing extremely soft this week. Meaning you can actually create more lineups. Because if you think about it, they had it more aggressive pricing. Like, let's say they put Jon Rahm or Scotty Scheffler at 12.8 or 12.7. Well, you can't really put Jon Rahm and Scotty Scheffler together if they were priced in the 12K range, but you certainly can now that they're in the 10K range. So now this opens the door to building lineups with Scotty Scheffler and Jon Rahm together. Where if I think they had the right pricing, I would have said they should have closer to 12. And then, you know, water it down from there. Because well, actually, you know what? I think it makes building easier. This makes building harder because there are more options. Either way, the bucket system with the 10K range, 2 golfers, and my projection of golfers finishing inside the top 10 from this range is 0 to 2. Duh. So it doesn't really help with that. Now, my conservative prediction for the max, I should say, is 2. I think if you start with Scotty or John Rahm, you're already set to go. I think that's a good place to start. However, the 9K range, I do have 1 to 3 as my projection. So our minimum is 1, so you want at least 1, but the max is 3. I could easily see 3 golfers from the 9K range finishing inside the top 10. And my conservative maximum projection is 2.45. Again, you round up to 3. Look at this 9K range. Justin Thomas, who could probably be a 10K golfer, honestly. Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, 2 of my highest ranked golfers in this field. Patrick Cantlay is actually my highest ranked golfer in this field. Colin Morikawa, which we have already talked about, not, 12th on my ranking, but still good enough to be at that price tag. Tony Finau and Matt Fitzpatrick. Finau's been pretty hot as of late. Fitzpatrick, not a slouch. So going with any of those golfers, pretty decent. Now, again, the projection's 1 to 3. Could you see 3 golfers from this range being inside the top 10? Oh, absolutely. So I think this is really where you win your GPPs. This is where you win your weekly contests. Like if you're in a league of some kind, this is where I think you win it, is figuring out who the right 9K golfer is. I think the easy golfer to choose is probably Schauffele, because it is a limited field event. Only 39 golfers. This is perfect for him. It's a no-cut event as well. So check for Xander Schauffele being probably the best golfer in this range. Obviously, that's debatable. I really like Cantlay. He's my number 1 golfer in the field this week. You do you. Choose who you think is right for your lineup, and I don't think you can go wrong. Going to the 8K range, projection somewhere between 2 to 4. Now I have a conservative projection of 3, which would actually bump down the minimum to 1. Remember, we want a 2-point buffer. So how I look at this is 1 to 4. I know that's kind of confusing, but I'll go by it again. My traditional projections for minimum and maximum: 2, we always round down. So 2.11 begins or goes down to 2. Our maximum we round up. 3.51 goes up to 4. Again, why I don't do those rounding for you is just to show you what those numbers are, so you can do with it however you please. But I include the sweet spot score into this bucket, and now the max projection goes down to 3, which in turn, if you remember what I said earlier, we want a 2-point difference between our max and our minimum. That would bring our minimum down to 1. So I'm really projecting this range being 1 to 4. Now, you can do with this whatever you like. This is kind of because it's, the strength of field points are great, but my sweet spot score isn't. It, to me, provides more volatility. So that's why my projection is 1 to 4. If we go into the 7K or the 8K range, we're looking at golfers: Will Zalatoris, Cam Young, Tom Kim, Max Homa, Victor Hovland, Sam Burns, Sung J M, Jordan Spieth, Hideki Matsuyama, and Brian Harman. Having a projection from 1 to 4 is actually a wonderful projection, because Will Zalatoris is coming back from an injury. We have no idea if he's fully healed. I'm sure he is. That's why he's playing. But he could be fairly rusty. This could just be a tournament to ease him back into things. There's always the argument that golfers aren't going to play in a tournament if they're not ready, which that is very true. So he could be your winning ticket, is putting Will Zalatoris in there, because there is a lot of hesitation you should have rostering Will Zalatoris, unless you hear something like on the Golf Channel, or you hear an interview with him saying he's fully recovered, he feels great, he's playing really good golf. Then yes, obviously, this is a great time to get on Will Zalatoris, because he would be technically mispriced if he was kind of, back up to where he was when he won the FedEx St. Jude back during the playoffs. So anyways, be aware of that. Cam Young, great golfer. Tom Kim, great golfer as well. These price tags for all these golfers, very reasonable and very difficult to choose from because they're all really good. So that projection of 1 to 4, I think is a very true. Like, just look at the range. Volatility Express. It's super volatile. Moving on though, going to the 7K range, we want 0 to 2 golfers. This range during a full field event is usually the best range to select from. This week at this event, not so much. 0 to 2. Even my conservative projection doesn't even bump it up or anything like that. So yeah, 0 to 2. Well, let's take a look. 7K range goes from Billy Horschel on down to KH Lee. You have Horschel, Corey Connors, Russell Henley, Adam Scott, Keegan Bradley, Aaron Wise, Sahith Theegala, Seamus Power, Sepp Straka, and KH Lee. If, you know, I could make the argument that if you wanted to pit the 7K range versus the 8K range, you might actually have a golfer from the 7K range doing better than the 8K range. Because I almost look at this, like if we think of if it's just the 8K range versus the 7K range, I literally think of the 8K range as 1A versus the 7K range as 1B. It's not 2A. It's not a 1 and a 2. I think they're very closely rated. And I know that might be a shock to some people. That might be crazy. But Russell Henley is by himself capable of beating these guys up here. Maybe not so much Jordan Spieth or Sung J M, but you know, we've seen some volatility from these guys over the last couple of years. I would definitely think like a Max Homa. If I'm putting like Russell Henley versus Max Homa, I'd do a head-to-head against somebody with these two golfers. Same goes with like Adam Scott. Even if we want to put like Adam Scott versus Tom Kim, I'd probably do that as well. And a lot of these wild cards down here. Keegan Bradley, Aaron Wise. Aaron Wise is a very talented golfer. Figured out his putting woes using the broomstick. I think that's a good choice. Sahith Theegala, very talented golfer. Very hungry. Finished off the fall swing events pretty darn well. And then Seamus Power also finished off the fall swing pretty darn well. I think he finished second at the RSM Classic after winning the week before, if I remember correctly. I might be misremembering, but yeah, it's a great choice. So 0 to 2, that makes it kind of difficult because I almost want at least one of these guys, and I think that helps balance out the lineups. But if you wanted to be conservative yourself, maybe just only select one and go into the 6K range. Get your feet wet in the 6K range. Now, I split the 6K range into two different segments. Both of them are 0 to 1. And we might as well just talk about it. So in the 6K range, in total, we have 11 golfers. The higher 6K range has 4 golfers, and the lower 6K range has 7 golfers. And again, we want 0 to 1 from each of these ranges. So keep that in mind. Your, again, high 6K range is Mackenzie Hughes, JT Poston, Scott Stallings, and Tom Hoagie. Your low 6K range is Am Svensson, JJ Spawn, Ches Reavie, Trey Mullinax, Luke List, Ryan Brem, and Chad Ramey. I think you win your GPP here. And if we look, I'm going to go into pass optimal lineups right after this. But when we take a look at this, that low 6K range is kind of gross. Luke List, I think, is going to be everyone's favorite just because he's kind of always been popular. But Adam Svensson is a very good golfer, and he's been playing better. Like throughout that fall swing, obviously won at the RSM Classic. But it's like one of those things that we talked about last year. Like a lot of the events, it's a matter of time for Svensson. He's been trending up. I don't mind playing someone like Svensson, but maybe everyone gravitates to him in the 6K range, and this is where you really can, you know, leverage other people by playing someone like JJ Spawn, maybe Ches Reavie. I'll tell you what, Ryan Brem and Chad Ramey probably not being selected. So you can get a lot of leverage there. I would probably make the argument, don't play them because they're not good. In comparison to the rest of these guys, probably don't play them. So that wraps up your 6K range. That wraps up the buckets. It's easier to go through a limited field event with all of these with these buckets. Remember, we're only talking about 3 buckets each, so that makes it simpler. But why don't we go ahead and get into past optimal lineups? I used to do this in my previews before, but in the interest of time, I wanted to cut it up where, you know, it didn't take so long. But in the channel updates here at the end of the video, I am going to go over some exciting things that will make me making segments out of this long video easier. So anyways, when we look at 2022, our optimal lineup only left $400 on the table. Our GPP winning lineup only left $500 on the table. And each one of those lineups started with Cam Smith, John Rahm, Matt Jones, Patrick Cantlay, and Daniel Berger. If you look at the price tags, we got 11K, 9K, 8K, 8K, and flat 6K. So both the optimal as well as the GPP winning lineup started with those 5 golfers. Now the optimal used Cam Davis at $6,200, whereas the GPP winning lineup used Joel Damon at $6,100. Here's the thing to remember. This goes by DraftKings points, and DraftKings points includes finishing position. But when you get outside of 10th place, it gets grouped. We're like 12th and 13th place is X amount of points, yada, yada, yada. 20th to 40th place, or 20th to something place, 20th to 25th place is 1 point difference between 25th to 30th place. And it's 1 point difference from there, from 30th to 35th and 35th to 40th. So you're only missing out on 4 points in this range when it comes to finishing place. So it all depends on DraftKings points, birdies, eagles, that kind of thing. If we take a look at Joel Damon, he scored 100.5 points at the $6,100 price range or price tag. Cam Davis scored 133. So there were basically 30 points between them. Just kind of crazy. So that means there's probably a little bit that you could work with. We just find anyone that's over 6,100, somewhere between 61 and 65. So Stuart Sink could have been in there, another flat 6K golfer. That would have helped out your lineup. Optimal lineup, we can only work with $400 from 61. So it's 65 or lower. So that was it. At least that's what I see. Yeah, I don't see anyone else. It's notable to see Victor Hovland down here. He was a 10K golfer. He scored 101 points. Oh, Garrett Kigo. Yeah, you could have selected Garrett Kigo. $6,400, 112 points. So it's showing you last year you wanted 2 6K golfers and random guys at that. 2021, your optimal lineup only left $600 on the table. And your winning lineup, your GPP winning lineup, left only $200 on the table. Again, another limited field event, not leaving a lot of money on the table. So this one, we start with a 10K golfer. Let me double check this. So we have, so your optimal and GPP winning lineup started with the same 5 golfers once again. 10K, 3 8Ks, a 7, and a 6 for the optimal. Actually, let's talk about those 5. A 10, 3 8s, and 1 7. Both the optimal as well as the winning or GPP winning lineup use those 5 golfers. Then the GPP winning lineup use a $6,900 golfer, and the optimal use a $6,500 golfer. So only one 6K golfer in either the optimal or the GPP winning lineup in 2021. Now in 2020, let's hide this. Both the optimal as well as the GPP winning lineup were the same thing. So congratulations to the winner of the $8 GPP winning lineup. They're one and the same. And again, starts with an 11K golfer, but then it goes to 2 9K golfers, a low 7, and 2 6K golfers. So it's kind of showing you the different ways you can make lineups. Like I usually say, start 10 9 8, 7 7 6, and then make 2 substitutions. So what I mean by that is you follow that 10 9 8, 7 7 6. We could switch one of those 9s down to an 8, and maybe one of those 7s back up to an 8. That way you get 3 8s no 9s, a 10, a 7, and a 6. So hopefully that made sense. I wish I had a graphic to show you that. Or we start with a 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6. We substitute one of the 8s to go up to a 9, and we can substitute one of the 7s going down to the 6, and that's what you have right there. So hopefully that makes sense. Start with your 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6 template, and then switch those numbers around. You get a max up to two substitutions. You drop a 10 down to a 9 and move a 7 up to an 8 if you wanted to. So you have 2 9s, 2 8s, 1 7, 1 6. You do line up like that. But it's kind of proving out to be you want a 10K golfer in your lineup. It's also notable that there are probably more 10K golfers in this field than there are in, or I should say in the 2020 or the 2020 field as there are in the 2023 field. Tongue twister. Remember, there's only 2 10K golfers this week, whereas I think there are probably like 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's it. I only see 4. So keep that in mind. If we go to 2019, we do have an optimal lineup here. I do not have the GPP winning lineup, but if you take a look, we're only leaving $600 on the table. We start out with 2 8Ks and a 10K golfer, 7, another 8 and a 6. So let's say that over again. We have a 10, 3 8s, a 7 and a 6. So Chad, this might be the optimal time to pepper the 8K range. Going to 2018, we also have an optimal lineup that only leaves $400 on the table. Starts with a 10K, 9K, 8K, 8K, 6, and 6. So you're seeing the differences in lineups. But again, if you start 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, make 2 substitutions. In this one, we have a 10, 9, 8. But then we have another 8. As you can tell, the 2 7s, so the 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6 method, we substitute one of those 7s up to Pat Perez, and then say we already have a 6K, and we substitute one of the other 7s down to a 6K. Does that make sense? So there you go. You have it there. 10, 9, 8, 8, 6, 6. So that works out there. Do we have one in 2017? We do not. So price tags from 2018 and on. So you can tell every single GPP winning lineup, optimal lineup, had at least one 10K golfer in it and at least one 6K golfer in it. Kind of what Chad Eckert's been talking about on Twitter. If you didn't see our strategy video from a while ago, absolutely everything we're talking about there as well. So those are your past optimal lineups. And that's kind of how you can think about constructing your rosters this week. Again, I'll be going over kind of roster construction tomorrow in the strategy video. But yeah, that's entirely up to you. Is there anything else that I need to add to this video? I do not have anything written down. I kind of like to wing this from time to time. Past optimal lineups, bucket system. Yeah, I think we're good. So that marks the end of the preview. Thank you for watching up to this. I'm going to go over some channel updates right now. So most of you guys know that I have been working on a database and a website forever. I am sad to say I haven't even worked on it at all during this Christmas break. I had said that I was going to. What I did instead was I built a new computer desk, I bought a new computer, and I bought new monitors. Reason being, here, let me bring some pictures to light. You're gonna dig this. So here is the old setup. I was doing like a Snapchat story. Pretty dirty. I understand. You don't need to criticize me too much. And the cable management is disgusting. I'm a huge cable management freak, but this is a temporary location, so I'm not too concerned with cable management. Obviously, I had my 3 monitors. They were all 24-inch monitors. You can see my webcam up here. We have changed that. You can't even see the computer, but you'll see the computer in the next image. So let me get that one on the screen. Again, it's messy. I understand. This is right when I was building it. You can kind of see my storage over here is pretty messy. We have that cleaned up to some extent, but not fully. And then everything on the screen. Yeah, I don't mind. You can criticize me for this. This isn't the full the full experience. We do have our ring lights that provide obviously the light to provide for this. We have 4 monitors now. These are 24-inch monitors over here, and we've got 27-inch 4K monitors in the middle. So I'm going to be interested to watch this this preview back just to see how finely, like, how fine print everything look. If it's small, I apologize. It's my first stream basically with the new monitors, so I don't know what it looks like on your end. On my end, it's fantastic. It's awesome. But yeah, we got this new desk. This desk right here is built by me. I put all of this together. For all the woodworkers out there, I know you really can't tell. But we have red pine as my tabletops. I think one of these shelves is also red pine. I used red pine and white pine. White pine, you can, those are the legs. They're kind of like a softer, lighter material. The red pine I also have as stabilizers here in the back. I originally wasn't going to. So the purpose of this desk, I don't own a home yet. I plan to in the future, obviously. I shouldn't say obviously, but I plan to. So I kind of jump from apartment to apartment, just depending on what's cheaper, what's the cheapest. I want a desk that I can tear apart easy and assemble really quickly. The really cool part about this desk, no screwing is involved. I've done all the screwing to all the parts that need it, but everything fits on top of each other like Lincoln logs. And I wish I had pictures to show you. I think maybe if I set it up somewhere down the road, if I set it up again, I'll show you. I was kind of a dummy and didn't take the pictures while I was putting it together. But everything slots into each other like Lincoln logs. So these 4 legs, so you see a leg right here, a leg here, a leg here, and a leg here. They're basically boxes. So you can kind of see the box that goes across, down, over, and up. That's one leg. There are brackets that sit in there. Now, what I didn't account for is this bottom shelf doesn't sit on top of those brackets easy. So what I actually had to do is carve an inset. Now, I could have used a router to do this, but I didn't have a router on hand. So I got one of those wood chisels, and I basically chiseled out an inset to fit over those brackets. So that took a little bit of time. Oh, and by the way, all this wood is stained and polyurethane by yours truly. I did all that too by myself. It's my first really kind of big wood project. I haven't done anything in a long time, but it turned out fantastic. One of the things I love about this desk is I can stand. So I'm actually on this chair is too small. I almost feel like I have to like type up here. You can see the green screen kind of poking through. That's why you can see my arms go up. So this is where my desk is. So it's a little bit high. My chair doesn't go any higher, so I need to get a new chair. But I get to stand while I work, which is wonderful because I still have a 9-to-5 job. So again, the only things I have to really screw in are the stabilizer bars on the back, or I'll call them bars, but they're really, like 2x4s, or no, they're really like, they're 1x6s maybe. I don't know. I cut them out of the plywood that I have here at the top. But yeah, we got a new desk, and with that new desk, I wanted to build a new table. I had to get. If I say a new desk, I meant a new computer, a new PC. I wanted to build a new desk. So I wanted all of this to happen at the same time. I purchased this computer around Black Friday. It was actually between Black Friday and Cyber Monday, which was kind of stupid, but I still got the deals for both Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so it was kind of cool. I bought it through iBuyPower. So if you're familiar with that site, they construct a PC for you. For all your computer nerds out there, the CPU is a 12900 KF from Intel. I should have got the K, but the KF was like $150 cheaper on this site, so I just went that route. Could have got a 13900, just regular K, for just only like $100 more. I don't know what the heck was going on with their pricing, but I chose the 129. I didn't need all that power with the 139, and the GPU that I have in here is a 3070 Ti. NVIDIA GeForce. I'm going to upgrade that to either well, any of the 40s that come out. Somewhere down the road when I get the money, I will be putting either a 4090 in here, a 4080, 4070, 4060, whatever it ends up being. I will put that in here, and that'll be my final really update to this computer. I got a new computer because this one here, so you can see down here, one of the last 2 streams of the fall swing started to kind of like shut down a little bit when I was trying to stream, where I'd have to redo it. And I thought to myself, no, cannot have that. If I'm going to do this seriously going through 2023, we got to update the computer. And honestly, I just wanted a fast computer anyways. Here's what this computer will do for me. I have 32 gigs of RAM in there. I have over 6 terabytes of, well, I have 2 terabytes of SSD, 4 terabytes of HDD. It's fast. This will allow me to edit videos. I will be able to trim videos in record time. That computer that I just showed you here, just to take out white space, you know, like white noise in my videos. So if I were to talk like this, that little between is basically your white noise. A lot of streamers cut that out and then create, you know, videos after that to make them faster. What I plan to do is kind of how I was doing this video. I'm going to cut each segment out and I'm going to post those to YouTube. And I'm just going to see how people enjoy that, how they take it in. We're cut it up by bucket system, the full on bucket system portion of this video, as well as each bucket individually. We'll see how people like that. Maybe I'll just do like last buckets, course history buckets, recent form, last week, that kind of stuff. And those will be like what, 6-minute clips. We'll see how you like it. Maybe I'll even create some YouTube shorts to go over like the golfers that I like from each range. So we'll see. This will be interesting. It'll be fun. And if I can do this like really quickly, so I have to figure out what software I want to use to, you know, basically trim these videos, create the YouTube shorts and all that good stuff. And then once we get there, we'll obviously get there. So that's exciting. With all this being done, like I literally just set everything up. Today, actually, I had to reinstall my Stream Deck. Reinstall OBS is what I actually use to stream, to record these videos. Had to reinstall all of those things, find all of the old settings. So I'm comparing computer to computer because I do have this computer right here sitting next to that one. And it's plugged into this monitor. So I do go between the 2 monitors trying to figure out trying to figure out the settings, what needs to be the same, what needs to be different, so on and so forth. And then the OBS thing the Stream Deck thing was ridiculous. If you don't know what Stream Deck is, I don't know if I can show you. Maybe I can. It's this little guy. So I've got little buttons here that I can push to transition to different scenes and stuff like that. You need to install a plugin into your OBS. There's a lot of stuff that goes with it. So I love this thing. This is one of the greatest things that I was given for my stream. Like it's going to help whenever I start to live stream, which is another thing that I want to talk about. I'm going to start live streaming all of these videos, preview, strategy, what have you, because again, I have the opportunity to edit. So if I make a mistake, I can just edit that out and get right back into it. But don't really care about the live stream, honestly. I can just throw that live stream up and that's fine. And again, I want to trim these videos out. So I have all of that planned out for 2023. I'm going to give you more content. I'm actually going to have to do less work to give you more content, believe it or not. Because the old computer was great. It's really good for stats. It's really good for data. You know, I just needed it to use Google Sheets basically to figure all that stuff out. Now I've transferred everything over to this computer, and that's what I was talking about. Was I just got it all done. I built the computer, or I finished the computer on the 27th. I got the computer on the 24th. Like, thank God. FedEx was shipping on that day because I was supposed to get on the 23rd. If I wasn't, I was going to get on the 27th. Well, I finished the desk on the 27th. So it all kind of turned out pretty decent. But one thing I did not realize is how long it would take to update everything. So I was hoping to get like the desk done, get the computer sooner. I was supposed to get the computer on the 19th of December. I thought I was still gonna have like 2 weeks to work on the database. It just didn't turn out that way. And I worked day and night on this desk while maintaining my 9-to-5 job. So everything's done. Everything's great. I need to do some cable management, as you can see. That'll be easy. These cords are all right next to each other. Dude, this desk is awesome. And having these monitors are great. So I'm going to see what it looks like on stream, how much I have to turn my head, because it's crazy. Like, I did not realize, like, my head sits like right here. If I'm looking at this monitor, I can't even see this one in my peripherals. Like, I can barely see the camera in my peripheral looking over at the monitor that I'm pointing at. So it's pretty fun. What are some other channel updates that I can provide? Went over the PC, went over content, went over live streaming. Plan to do some live streaming coming up here, which I will actively invite all you guys to participate on, because I will be looking at chats while I do that. Yeah, I hope you saw the new thumbnail. I came across that by accident, really. Kind of extracted a photo from online and kind of put a white backdrop on it and made it look a little noir. Really love that. Like, that looks great. Couldn't be happier. Oh, by the way, one other thing to show you. Check out the inside of this computer. How cool is that? I get to upload my I have to clean the window, but upload the my logo. How cool is that? Everything in here that's lit up is controllable. It's pretty sweet. I love this computer. Yeah, what else to provide? I'm sorry I didn't come up with any like individual videos on strategies and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to do that, just didn't come about. Again, I've been working on this desk, working on getting all this stuff put together. But I'm looking forward to 2023. I'm going to put out as much. I think this is the year of SweetSpotDFS. I hope to get over 1,000 subscribers. That'd be amazing. Hope to get that website up and running. I will have that website up before the Masters. I guarantee you it. I guarantee it. The financial investments that I had to make on this desk, as well as this computer. I mean, the desk I built by myself, so it was just the wood cost, basically. And some of the new tools. That was fun to do. And the computer was hefty. The computer was more expensive than the website. So by the time taxes come out, looking at you, Josh Bennett. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna get that website published. And then in the meantime, I'll have the database finished as well. We'll do that. We'll make it easy. We'll work on this. It'll be a goal of mine to be one of the top people in this DFS industry, because I think we've got something good going on. And once I get the website up and running, the database running, I don't think there's going to be better stats than what I'll be able to provide. So those are the channel updates moving forward. As a reminder, I should have done this during or before the updates. If you want a chance to win some money, be subscribed to the channel. Comment down below. Give me your 2 favorite golfers. Or just anything. Let's get some comments in the comment section. Let's help the YouTube algorithm get me out to more people. Let's get more subscribers. It's a $50 monthly giveaway if we reach the 500 subscriber goal. If not, I'm doing $5 weekly giveaways, and that I'm giving out every week. So be on the lookout for that, or participate if you want a chance to win $5. I will draw someone's name during the preview video of the next week, or the previous video, or from the previous week, to find a winner to give $5 away. You gotta be subscribed and you gotta comment down below. Easy as that. The other giveaway is a Prize Picks giveaway. If you want to sign up, well, let's put it this way. If you want to play Prize Picks, sign up with the promo code SweetSpot. Put $20 in your account at least, and I'll give you $20 back. Plus, Prize Picks will match your deposit up to $100. So if you only put 20 in, they'll give you 20 more. So you'll get $40 plus you get the 20 from me, making your investment absolutely free, but getting $40 in return. All you gotta do, again, there's a link in the description, sign up, use the promo code SweetSpot, easy as that. And that's it. The cheat sheet I used, I talked about it throughout the video. There's a link in the description for that. And I'll get an optimizer up and running soon. So with that being said, I've got nothing else. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.